This presentation is an introduction to Latin and English syntax. In English, word order determines the function of words in a sentence. In these two sentences, the woman sees a horse and a horse sees the woman. In both sentences, we have the same 5 words in each sentence, and yet the sentences have different meanings. In English, it is because woman comes before the verb sees that tells us that woman is the subject of the sentence. The woman is doing the action, she is doing the seeing. The horse is receiving the action of the verb sees. The horse is what is being seen. In the second sentence, the horse is doing the action of the verb. The horse is doing the seeing. The woman is being seen. In Latin, however, word order does not determine the meaning of the sentence. Word endings do. So the two sentences that we just had in English, when they're translated into Latin, look like these two Latin sentences: femina equum videt and feminam equus videt. And they're almost the same 3 words, but not quite. The ending on femina is just an A, but in the second sentence there's an AM. And in the first sentence we have equum for horse, but in the second sentence it's equus with an S ending. You'll also notice that there are only 3 words to translate the 5 English words. Particles like a, an, and the aren't used in Latin, so we don't have any words to represent them. We call Latin an inflected language because it depends on word endings rather than word order to understand the meaning of a sentence. We do use inflections in English, but just a little. So in these 2 sample sentences, I see them, they see me. In both of those sentences, we could be talking about the same people, but the pronouns take on a different form, for example, I or me, depending on their role in the sentence. I is used when the pronoun is the subject of the verb see, but me is used when it's the object of the verb see. Similarly, we alternate between they and them depending on whether it is the subject or the object of the verb. In a more complicated choice, we try to choose between who or whom, and many people struggle over this of which one do we choose. It boils down to whether the pronoun is the subject or the direct object in its own clause. So in the first sentence, they are the boys. They like to play soccer. We take those 2 clauses and combine them with the relative pronoun who. We use who because who is the subject of the verb like. In the second sentence, originally there were 2 clauses. I know people. The president has appointed them. So in the second sentence, whom is the direct object of the verb, has appointed. Can you think of other examples of inflected endings or changing word forms in English? In Latin and English, we talk about sentence parts. We talk about the subject, the verb, the direct object, the predicate nominative. Do you know what these terms mean? In these two sentences, the woman sees a horse and the horse is fast. There is a verb in each sentence, sees or is. There's a subject, woman or horse. In the first sentence, horse is again in the sentence, but here it's a direct object. What does the woman see? A horse. In the second sentence, the verb isn't an action verb, it's a linking verb. So it doesn't have a direct object. It's followed by a predicate nominative, which is either an adjective or a noun that renames the subject, in this case, horse. So on our next slide, we'll look more carefully at these distinctions. Okay, the woman sees a horse. We have a subject, verb, direct object, pattern. The horse is fast. We have a subject, the horse. Is a linking verb. It's not an action verb. And the adjective fast is the predicate nominative as an adjective. When we have Marcus is a friend, again we have is as a linking verb. Marcus is the subject of the verb. And here we have friend as the predicate nominative. This time the predicate nominative is a noun. As we study Latin, it is helpful to be able to use these terms to describe what we are doing. So we will keep practicing our use of these words and finding them in sentences. If you are watching this again and you are still not clear on some of the terms or how they apply to the examples, please let me know.